What's up, anime friends? It is my favorite season. As you can tell, it is comfy anime girl season. Let's cry together season. Cuddle up, cry, watch some cozy anime. It's the best time of the year. So today I'm here to give you some super comfy, not super spooky anime recommendations. There might be one possible a little bit spooky recommendation on this list. But other than that, it's going to be all warm, comfy vibes because I'm a warm, comfy person. So make sure you grab your cup because it's time to spill the anime tea. Maybe put some hot cocoa in there, put some hot tea, put some warm in there because the fall season is upon us. So my very first recommendation is Haikyuu. And now I know what you're thinking, Phoenix, why the heck would you recommend Haikyuu? Me, my mother, my sister, and all of my cousins have already seen Haikyuu. We know how great it is. Why would you recommend this? But let me explain real quick, okay? The dub is on a whole other level of wholesome and amazingness. You need to rewatch, if you have already watched, the first season at least, in the dub because it is so freaking hilarious. It is so sweet. It, like, all the sweetness and wholesomeness you got from the sub is doubled in the dub. They just did a phenomenal job on the Haikyuu dub.
A good spike. Me so happy feels.
For those of you who have never watched Haikyuu, it is it's a sports anime about volleyball, about this short character who wants to play in volleyball, but volleyball is kind of like a tall person sport. You know, relatable because I'm like barely 5 feet. I understand Hinata. We are on the same page, even though Hinata's like 5'4", so he's much taller than me. Anyway, he wants to be a super famous volleyball player, and he starts at his high school. And he has to go through, you know, rivals on his team, even though he has to work with his teammates, and he has to, of course, go through rivals on other teams and like work his way up to the top alongside his entire team, which we get backstories and lots of character details on, and we get to learn about everyone's transgressions and all of the hopes and dreams that they have in volleyball as well. So in general, it's already a cozy show because you're just getting to learn these characters and all they hope for with these amazing action battle type sequences where they are playing volleyball like their life depends on it, and it's just so engaging and immersive. It's so beautiful. Plus the main colors of Haikyuu are black, orange, various shades of warm colors like yellow and stuff, and they usually show the seasons in the anime. So there's like the colder seasons where it's winter. I think it's when it starts off. It's in the winter, and then there's like fall, and we kind of get to see the seasons change as these characters are changing and growing their volleyball skills. The second one is a little bit more spoopy, but not spoopy enough to like, you know, give you nightmares. It's just like in the spirit of spoop. But the next series is Burn the Witch. Burn the Witch, as some of you may know, is a spin-off series by the creator of the series Bleach, which is one of the big three. It was a really popular shonen series alongside Naruto and One Piece. And this is kind of like a one-shot series that is also a manga, but also a 3-part movie series that's available on Crunchyroll. The story basically follows these two witches, Noelle and Ninny, I believe. They live in reverse London, which is, you know, it's like there's regular London and then there's reverse London, which is like kind of like the spirit world of London, where these dragons live. And there's make sure that the dragons are in check, that they're not attacking people or killing people in the other side of London, and keeping everyone safe, essentially. The main reason why I chose this show for this recommendation list is because it has witchy vibes. Like, they're witches, they're dressed up, they have like green and plaid clothing. Even though they use like these kind of guns, they're kind of like magical, mysterious kind of guns to capture and like attack and take down the dragons. They ride dragons, there's dragons involved. So it just feels like a Halloween fun series. It's super short, easy to watch. There's attractive characters. What more do you want? My next recommendation is in the spirit of my sweater, which says, let's cry together. You know, it's for those of us who are a little bit more sensitive and peer inclined like I am. We're talking about Orange. Orange follows this group of high school kids who are on a path to save their friend from possibly taking his own life. So basically, the main character gets a note from herself in the future that a friend or a person that they're going to meet is going to take their own life. And her main goal is to try to save that friend and make sure that he stays alive and continues on in life. Again, just another wholesome, well-intentioned show that has a beautiful message about taking care of your friends, checking in on each other, especially in these colder months. You know, in the cold months, people get really sad. So check in on your friends, make sure they're okay. The color scheme of orange is, orange is it's really bright, colorful type of anime. The manga as well, which you can read on Crunchyroll if you have a Crunchyroll subscription. I read it recently and it was beautiful. It's also just really beautiful and the art is amazing, and it's like this watercolor wash kind of style that I love in manga, especially shoujo romance slice of life manga. Perfect for cuddling up with a loved one or on your own or with a friend and just like crying a little bit at this really poignant and beautiful series. Before we move on, make sure to like this video if you're enjoying it so far. Take a sip of water or tea or whatever warm drink that you're drinking while enjoying this video. Let's talk about the next series on this list, which is Fooly Cooly. I like to recommend shorter series, like stories and shows that are under 10 episodes are great for binge watching in like 2 hours. And Fooly Cooly is no different. Fooly Cooly is also a nostalgia trip because it was made back in the early 2000s. I watched it back in the early 2000s when it was on Toonami. So if you haven't watched it again as an adult, or if you haven't watched it at all, I highly recommend it. The story follows a young boy named Naota who is kind of upset because his brother left him to go to America to play baseball. So he's kind of left all alone, but he is left with his brother's kind of stalker girlfriend, who wasn't really his girlfriend. She was mainly his stalker. And now she's all over Naota because, the brother's gone. So she's like, I guess you're the next best thing. One day when he's going home, he runs into this alien chick who likes to cosplay and then ends up hitting him in the head with a giant guitar, and then a giant mecha robot comes out of his head, and then the giant mecha robot fights these monsters for him. And it's just really complex without being complex at the same time. If you really want to go deep dive into like what is actually going on in Fooly Cooly, you can do that. There are great videos out there. Beyond the Bot has one about it that's actually really, really good. But you also don't have to look into anything at all. You can just have a good time laughing at the random, irreverent comedy that it is, and seeing like this kid go through all these different kind of existential crises that involve these women and these men, these grown men who don't really know how to control themselves, and he's just trying to figure out how to normally live a life. Next up, in the spirit of spoopy and spooks and ghosts and yokai, is Toilet Bound Hanako-Kun. Toilet Bound Hanako-Kun is a national treasure that we need another season of, but we may never get. So in the spirit of saying that, I will recommend that you read the manga. Instead if you want, but honestly, the anime does such a good job bringing the characters to life and bringing that art style to life that it's worth it to watch the anime as well. So the story basically follows a young girl. She is in high school, even though all these characters look like they're in elementary school. Anyway, she likes the supernatural and things like that. So one day she goes into her school's bathroom, and in lots of schools in Japan, there is a like kind of a myth or a legend. There's several legends actually about different yokai and ghosts and curses that exist that are really common. And then this show explores that. So she goes into the bathroom to ask for a wish from the ghost that lives in one of the stalls in the bathroom, in the girl's bathroom. This ghost is called Hanako. It's usually a girl who died in the bathroom, and her ghost is there and you can ask her for a wish. But in this story, it ends up being a boy. So Hanako-Kun ends up being a boy. She kind of gets roped into his shenanigans and his whole mischief, and all the legends and curses that exist on the school actually do exist. And they have to kind of figure out like what's going on and who's kind of messing with the curses and stuff, and as well as explore like Hanako's actual story and how he ended up there. Why is he now Hanako-Kun? Like, why is he that ghost specifically? How did he become that legend? There's lots of interesting like intrigue about that. Plus, I honestly believe that this is the coziest fall anime to like ever exist. It's just like, it's like a friendly ghost character. There's this beautiful mystical adventure told in this like amazing art style that is really reminiscent of almost Demon Slayer, but just a lot more cute and round and kind of fluffy. Plus, who doesn't love a ghost that comes out of a toilet? I mean, only an anime, am I right? It just feels like an anime. It feels like a manga. It's so irreverent and cute. Moving on to a little bit more suspenseful thriller type anime, I'm gonna recommend Talentless Nana. Talentless Nana is also a more recent series that came out maybe in 2020. Think of it as My Hero Academia meets Among Us is how I usually like to describe it. The story revolves around these high school students who all have these supernatural abilities and are all sent to this island. And on the island, they are supposed to learn about their supernatural abilities and be taken care of and things like that. Because they're special and they have to learn how to control themselves. There's a traitor amongst them slowly taking out each of the characters. And throughout the series, you have to figure out who that is, why they're doing what they're doing, and what the characters with the specific powers actually are, what it means for the rest of society, and how they treat them and everything. And it's just such an intricate, plot twisty type of show. Like in the first 2 episodes, a huge plot twist is revealed that you just don't expect at all. It definitely has a more spooky aspect to it. It's a little bit more suspenseful, more thriller. And my last bonus one, this is an extra bonus one. It is not technically anime, which is why I consider it a bonus. But I want to put Corpse Party on this list. Corpse Party is a game, but it basically follows these kids who go to their high school at night one time because they're all saying goodbye because one of their friends is moving. So they have this like supernatural club and they do stuff together. But one night, while they're doing their little supernatural like thing that they're hoping is like a good luck like wish or blessing for their friend who is moving away, it ends up taking them to another dimension within the school. And they have to find their way out of this dimension and back to the real world. And it's like this really crazy, messed up isekai. A lot of people have played this. There's lots of Let's Plays. That's how I just discovered it and how I fell in love with it, even though it gives me nightmares every single time. It is a great series that is worth watching or playing, whichever way you want to go. If you want to watch people stream it or if you want to play it yourself, whatever way you want to go, it's a great time. But it is definitely the scariest recommendation on this list. I had to add it because I wanted to have like something that was actually really scary for people to watch. But I do need to warn you that it is very violent. Despite it being mostly pixelated, like the game itself is all shown and told in pixels, there are games with CG sets that have visual scenes, like almost like a visual novel where you can see like fully drawn out images of what's happening in the story. There's also an anime that was based off of the series, but the anime is terrible. Do not watch it. Just watch a Let's Play or play the game yourself. It's way better. And preferably don't play it by yourself. Play it with someone else, because if you are a scaredy cat like me, you will get nightmares and you will be a little bit frightened about like the things that happen in that school, and like the music, the voice acting is all done really well. Overall, there's lots of cozy anime that exists out there in the world, but these are just some of my personal favorites that I wanted you to watch. A little bit scary, a little bit not scary, and a little bit in between. What cozy or spooky anime do you like to watch around this time of the year? Which ones would you recommend? Let me know down in the comments. And if you would like more recommendations on what to watch, especially in the colder months of the year, please go watch this video next. Thank you so much for watching this video. My name is Phoenix. This has been the Anime Tea, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.